Hello there, sword friends. Today I'm going to do an unboxing on an Angus Trim sword. I've had this box staring at me for like a week, and I have had other duties to attend to, whether they be work or daddy related duties. So I haven't gotten a chance to do it, but that changes today. I'm going to open this sword. A couple caveats to note and requests for you. So I'm going to do a review later on the sword. This will just be initial impressions, though it will contain kind of a lot of the thoughts that will likely end up in the aesthetic portion of the review. But if there's something you'd like better photos of, if you'd like measurements or me to take a look at, please let me know. I do have to return the sample, so I can't be deliberately destructive to it, but I do get to cut some things with it, and then I get to send it back to Angus. So anyway, bear those things in mind. Actually, when Angus reached out to me, I had reached out to him a number of years ago and asked for a review sample. It didn't work out, unfortunately. They were all committed to other things, but there's this one was available, as were a couple others, and I'm behind on sword reviews, so I didn't elect to have more of them around than I can actually review. What I asked him to send me was the newest one, because I like to review things that are representative of what people can expect to get today. And I've reviewed a number of Angus Trim swords over the years, and there's a few of them on my channel, and it's been fun to see the evolution of his work. And so, given that this one is the newest one that I've gotten to hold, I'm anxious to see what it has to offer. Anyway, I'm going to shut up and open the sword and kind of give you some thoughts. I've got my Yield unboxing knife. He sends these out in gun cases, is what I typically understand. And for relatively expensive swords, it's actually a pretty good box. If you go to like UPS or something and have a box made for a sword, oftentimes they'll charge you a reasonable fee to do that service. And a gun case, a lot of times you can pick these things up for $10 or $15, and so it ends up being quite secure. It ends up being reusable. It's a very effective way to ship swords, but people give you some side eye when you walk into the UPS store to drop it off. I kind of have to subtly be like, hey, yeah, it's not what you think it is. What do we got here? We've got more zip ties. My goodness, Angus. It's actually very effective, though. Like, it definitely keeps it from walking around. All right. And then we've got it wrapped in an old gym sock. No, that's not it. Now, as I recall, this is one of his newer pieces. Now that I have it out, let's just talk about a few things that I'm seeing. So dimension-wise, this is a pretty simple machine piece. I don't see a lot of dimension horizontally, and it looks like a simple wheel. I like the bluing, though there is a little bit of discoloration around this part. Overall, though, I have to be pretty nitpicky to see any flaws. The edges are chamfered around the main side, but the inner side, the inner bit, is a little sharp, as in, like, I can rub some thumbnail off on it, but it's borderline for me. It's going to likely cause some amount of discomfort as I hold it, but at the same time, it's not really the end of the world. I like Angus Trim's peen over here. As I understand it, this is some sort of nut peen thing. I should probably ask him about it before I do the review, exactly what this is. Either way, it looks really nice. There's no like errant hammer marks or tool marks or anything like that. It's a pretty elegant looking solution. Again, though, it does have a little bit of precision edge to it, so it's got a little bit of bite. And as it rolls around, if I for whatever reason have it in the palm of my hand for whatever reason, it does kind of bite in. It's a little toothy. Where the guard meets, or where the pommel meets the grip, the transitions look really nice. It looks like this has been flattened, and I don't see any schmutz or gunk or anything like that. It's a reasonably well done transition. Grip. As I look at the grip, it has a nice little swell in the center area. It fits really well in my hand. I happen to like the way it feels. I see a seam, and there's a couple little flappy ledges on the risers, but other than that, it doesn't overlap anywhere. It's very fits two hands, and it feels reasonably comfortable in one. I can grab it in a bunch of different spots, and it's okay, but as soon as I grab this pommel, I feel kind of the toothiness. And on the guard, if I really kind of choke up and twist my hand, it feels a little toothy as well. Now, some people are going to like that because it has a very precision look to it, and it certainly has a precision feel, those kind of nice, clean, sharp lines, but they come at a bit of a cost of ripping into your hands if you choke up on the guard and strike something. So we'll see how well they hold. I don't generally cut with gloves on. I don't know if you do or not. If you had a glove on, I don't imagine it would be a problem. Anyway, I like the grip. I like the color. It looks good. The stitching, or rather the imprint left over by the linen on here, looks even and clean and nice. If I move on to the cross guard, I like the shape. It has nice smooth lines. I don't spot anything uneven or odd. In previous iterations, I've been able to see some kind of quick indication upon visual inspection that this is hand ground, and I don't here. This all looks very, very even and symmetrical. I don't spot any wavers or anything. I guess I'll look over it more diligently when I do the review. But at a glance, this looks very symmetrical and even. I like the bluing; it matches. I like the transition up here, though it feels a bit sharp. And if I look inside where the guard meets the blade, it's interesting. It has this little step. It has a wider gap where the shoulders rest, and then where the actual tang of the blade slots through, it's a little bit cleaner, or at least I can't make it out as easily. And the machining is larger than it needs to be, but reasonably precise. So a different solution, but elegant in its own way. I can't say that I mind it, because there's no wavery lines or anything like that. It all looks very very precise. And yeah, if you can't make it exactly fit with no gap, this is a good alternative solution. I don't see a lot of like residue or epoxy or schmutz kind of poking its way up through that area either. Blade wise, well, basic just that I'm noticing about the blade is that there are quite a bit of tool marks. Now, this isn't a fine mirror polish or anything like that, and it's been done up to have kind of a satiny polish. It's not as though there's a lot of rough or blotchy spots or anything like that. But I do spot tool marks. I do spot it in the fuller more so, but I can kind of make out some of the grinding. It looks like the fullers terminate in different spots by maybe a 1/4 inch. I'll have to measure that. I don't know for sure, but it feels like they end in maybe slightly different locations. Not off-putting, just something I tend to look for. It's also interesting that where I'm looking up here in the fuller of the blade, it almost looks like this is a flat spot on this side. So to me, the way I'm oriented, the left side of the blade, if I flip it around, the left side of the blade is also got a little flat, and this one doesn't. Now, that could just be whoever's grinding. It just kind of happens to fit that way. But along the fuller, there's what appears to be a slight flat spot on the left side, and some along the right, though it changes in depth. Now, that could just be grinding. I'm not entirely sure. Just a point that I'm spotting. Also, I haven't seen one like this before from Angus Trim. It reminds me of Sterling Armory, a sword from Sterling Armory that I reviewed, but this part of the blade isn't sharp for about 6 inches. So if you're a person that cuts with the first 6 inches of the blade, it's not going to work particularly well for you, but this is pretty meaty right here. So you can put a finger over it. Maybe you can block strikes with it. I'm not sure. I'm beginning to see the merit of these thicker cross ricasso areas on the blades. I happen to like that when I saw it on Sterling Armory, and now I see something similar on the Angus Trim blade, and that's neat to see. It starts being sharpened about 6 inches up the blade, and there's very notable transition to where it has an edge. It's a little, I don't know if I'd call it a secondary bevel, or if it's polished with a finer grit, or sharpened with a finer grit belt or something. It can have a very similar looking effect, but it feels very, very sharp, keener than I've felt other Angus Trim swords, though I haven't gotten many of them or any of them from him directly, so I don't know if that's typically the way they come or if this is a feature or a special request. Anyway, out of the gate though, the thing that I really should convey is it feels fantastic. It feels like I'm connected right to the end of the fuller of the blade when I hold it in my hand. It feels like I can get that edge exactly where I want it to be. It looks like that's roughly where the blade node is as well. In two hands, I feel precise. It feels like I have more tip control. In one hand, it's not that I don't have tip control, but it feels like it's a little bit more clumsy in that regard. It feels like a stout blade, but at the same time, I can move it around in one hand. I can move it around in two. It feels great. It feels very, very comfortable very comfortable in the hand. Anyway, those are the initial impressions. I think it looks really, really good. I'll put links and all that stuff in the commentary down below or in the description down below. And commentary-wise, if you have anything that you'd like to see in the review, please let me know. Throw it in the comments down below. If there's a measurement, a thing that you want to see closer up with more diligence done to the camera work, let me know and I will endeavor to do so. Anyway, that's all I got for the moment. As always, cheers and thanks for watching.